Hi guys, my name is Christian and welcome to yet another episode of Gear Fight! Hi and welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing fine. Before we begin, I'd like to say two things. First of all, this is just my personal opinion. If you disagree and love the 1073, that's all right. I do think that diversity is a good thing though, and when something becomes so widespread as the 1073 being crowned as the best preamp ever made, that really doesn't open up for any discussion, and you never know, your preference and usage might differ from the people that made the recommendation. And second of all, there will be a comparison later in this episode. I've recorded a song where I splitted the signal, one going to a clean preamp and the other one going to a 1073 style preamp. So if you don't want to hear my backstory or rant, feel free to skip ahead, and if you do, hopefully you'll enjoy. Okay, so let's jump back to around 2009. I just recently finished off my internship in a very famous Swedish studio, and I decided to try to pursue the whole audio engineer as a professional career. Back then, the 500 series was really at its peak. It was all about preamps, different flavors of preamps, and you almost got the sense that the preamp mattered more than the microphone, which I wholeheartedly disagree with. But looking back in retrospect, I can really understand the hype. Low-end to mid-priced interfaces preamps were pretty bad compared to today's standard. I did own a DigiDesign Digi 002 and 003 interface, and they were already known at that time to have quite bad integrated preamps. But the leap into high-end at that time was huge. Professional studios at that time almost exclusively used DigiDesign's Digi 96 or 192 converters, and that was paired with Pro Tools HD and their HDXL cards. And a rig like that ranged from around $10,000 to $30,000 depending on how many HDXL cards you'd want to buy. And no one would ever do that today, right? Have a card that costs like $50 to make, sell them for several thousands of dollars in retail. No one would ever buy that today, right? Anyways, caught in the hype, I did not want to blame my bad productions on not having good enough preamps, so I decided very early on to invest in a Crane Song Spider. The Spider is an 8-channel preamp / mixer. You also get analog to digital conversion through ADAT, so although it is extremely expensive, you really get your money's worth. So fast forward to today, I have now closed down my commercial studio. That's why I'm here on YouTube. And although I have a very nice home studio, I rarely use more than 2 channels at once, so having the Spider felt a bit of a waste, so I decided to sell it. So I knew that I wanted to replace it with at least 2 channels of high-end preamps, so which preamp were I supposed to buy? Well, 1073s of course. Everyone is talking about them, recommending them. Manufacturers can't release a new preamp without having the 73 in the name, so it really has to be that good. I've of course used 1073s in the past, both originals and various clones, but I never got one in my own studio, so I never got around to do a proper A/B comparison. So I went down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out which clone preamp was the best, because I did not want to spend the money on an original Neve. They cost like $5,000 to $8,000 these days, which is just crazy. So I got the recommendations from a couple of top producers to look into AML 1073s. So I found a pair, I bought them, and when I received them, I hooked them up to my beloved Neumann M269C, which I know very well. And to be honest, I was quite shocked on how different the microphone sounded with these new preamps. The mids and low mids were a lot more pronounced, and the preamp itself saturated quite early, and gone was the cohesive top end which the Spider seemed to add to the microphone. Sure, I'm probably exaggerating a bit here now, but the memory is still pretty vivid on how different the microphone sounded with these new preamps. So today we are going to do a comparison. I've recorded a song where I splitted the signal while recording, one going to my Rme Ufx preamps, which are probably not in the same league as the Spider, but they are good clean preamps, and the other one going to my AML 1073s. There are a grand total of 3 tracks that I recorded, so the sonic impact and print should be a bit more noticeable than if I had just recorded a single track, say the vocals. And of course I will be sharing the raw files if you want to check those out. There will be a direct link in my description. So enough talking, let's get on with the test. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major left, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah. Faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew ya. She tied you to the kitchen chair, she broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, hallelujah. This floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. But I seen your flag on the marble arch, and love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Okay, so that was the comparison. Which one did you prefer? Did you like the more open top end of the RMEs, or did you prefer the more rounded tone of the 1073s? Personally, I will probably not discard the 1073 completely. I do think they sound quite nice on electric guitar. I'm just not quite sure if I like them on vocals. One of the reasons I do believe people love the old tube Neumann microphones is that they are quite vibey and saturated to begin with, so adding something with a lot of character like the 1073 seems a bit much, at least for me. But you know, that might change over time. Time will tell. Okay, that's it for today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this comparison, and if you like this kind of content, you might considering hitting that subscribe button and giving me a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you around.